When?
No!
You're going to tell us when you go live or not?
Right, well, you see when I say I'm going to run the intro, and considering that you've seen the intro, I know it's about 10 seconds long.
Right, so tell us when you're going to run the intro.
I did.
No, you didn't.
See, Dave's doing this deliberately now, Jade, because this is something that we probably missed out on, because when I be on Dave's show, because I was sleeping on Tuesday, when he starts his show, I go, shh. Everybody has to be quiet now. Dave's show starting. Shh. This is revenge. So everybody, thank you very much for coming back to the after party with the Jaded Atheist. She has come back with us. We have also been joined by the wonderful Dave and the even better Manda, who seems to be, I don't know what way the camera's.
Better Manda?
What?
What do you mean even better Manda?
Does anybody here, either on the panel or in the live chat, disagree with the last statement I just made?
Everybody.
I don't think so. Jade, just
I
not.
didn't hear what you said.
Manda's better than Dave.
Everybody knows that. Like I said, I'm not better. I'm better Dave. I'm always Dave on his show. I'm the better Dave.
It's better to be the better Dave than the other Jay. And only some people in the live chat will get that. But, so, Jaded Atheist has joined us tonight. If you didn't watch the live stream, go back and watch that. You'll get some pretext and some context for it. Manda and Dave, I'm going to drop you in the hot seat. Have you anything that you would like to comment about the interview, say about the interview? Did Jade mention anything you just want to delve a wee bit deeper into? Or
Can I double check? When did you come out?
Like 7 to 8 months ago.
So still really recent.
Yes.
Right. I'm going to tell you something, show you something, tell you something. I tagged you in something on Twitter. It's a conversation. No, you don't need to look at it now. Right. It's just, I was going to right. It's asking why an awful lot of atheists question their politics very quickly after leaving religion. And I offered insight. My insight was basically I thought it was because you go from someone else knowing what's best to you believing that people get to choose for themselves. And I thought it was quite interesting that you were so recent and you have kind of you really hit the ground running. You and it means it kind of demonstrates how thoughtful you are.
Well, I didn't read the thread, but can I speak to it? I mean,
Sure.
I think there's just when you're in religion, there's a lot of things that they tell you to believe and to hate, and those tend to be on one side of the aisle. So letting go of that, you let go of that, the doctrine that says that such and such is evil, and say gay relationships or whatever. Being able to let go of that, I think, can often change your perspective and change your political ideologies.
Yeah, it was an insanely fast switch of like, and it was gay marriage actually that kind of started it. I didn't see why that was such a big issue, and my family, the only reason that they had was because that's what the Bible says. And I said, okay, is there anything beyond the Bible that makes this bad? And they never had an answer. And so yeah, it's just, as soon as you find all these things that you believed that weren't true, it's like, okay, now I need to find what the truth is about everything. And I just felt so lied to. And so it's kind of been, I feel like I need to catch up on 26 years of what I missed out on, I guess.
You've definitely got the... Oh, no, I thought it was muted. You definitely seem to be looking at it. Again, it seems to be normal. Once people hit this point that you... I would suppose I would ask you, is do you feel angry?
Yes, there is definitely some anger. Even though it wasn't intentionally my family lying to me, I do feel like I was lied to. And there is so... Like, I grew up in the purity culture as well. And so there's so many things that now I have to overcome just to have an okay relationship with myself, that kind of angers me too. I don't feel like I should have to retrain my brain as much as I do. But really, my anger is more, just like I said before, where this is still happening to children. Like, kids do not have a say in what they're being taught and what they're being told is true. And I think that, so it's more like an anger of, this is what religion is doing to people than anything.
It's hard to get out of, especially, I mean, I don't know, when there are things, obviously I'm brought up very differently. I'm not in purity culture, I'm brought up in a Christian country, whereas I had very little to do with it that I can remember.
Cultural
but
over
there are
here,
so
yeah.
many things, say again?
It's more cultural over here than anything.
Yes, that's what I was, right, there are so many things in my head that I know are wrong, but I haven't been able to get over the visceral response to it that I was taught as part of basic indoctrination. I've seen people that have come through the purity culture through a much stricter way, and in some respects they've got it easier because it's a very black and white. Once you can kind of see that was wrong, that what you taught was not, wrong is the wrong word, but it's not necessarily the right way. Mm-hmm. I think it can be in some respects easier to get over, but again, you're gonna I'd love to say it in 30 years time you'll do something and it'll just go like that, and it will click straight back in the visceral response that you were brought up with, and you have to override it, you have to move past it, you have to question it. Otherwise it holds you prisoner.
Yeah, it's crazy how sometimes I'll be thinking something as a response, and it'll be, what my thought would have been when I was still a Christian. Like, oh wait, that's not right, that's not real. It's just so ingrained in my head for so many things.
And the worst thing is it's not all bad. If you could just throw it all out, it would make life a lot easier. But it's not like some of the things on good ideas. It's not like there are no good ideas in there. You have to actually question all of them and work out which ones make sense and which ones don't.
Again,
what denomination were you?
To fall back on the whole boring philosophy thing, it falls back to the whole, you don't get to choose your beliefs, subset of knowledge and all that sort of thing. Being able to articulate that and being able to put it forward.
I was non-denominational.
I didn't think that many non-denominationals went down the purity route, but I don't know the US.
Hi, Rage.
Hey, what's up, yo?
Jade. This is Nakasuchi. This is the Raging Atheist. The channel's called The Rage, isn't it, though?
Actually, I changed it back to the Raging Atheist recently.
Yeah. So, Raging Atheist is the Raging Atheist on YouTube. Nakasuchi to everybody else.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey,
this
nice
is
to
Jade.
meet you. I wanted to jump on the opportunity of having a chance to talk to somebody so new to atheism, because you don't get that chance too often.
Yeah.
Go.
But y'all continue your conversation.
I don't remember. Yeah, my church was very much on the purity culture train. There was a youth event called Girls of Grace, where we went to a conference and we basically were told, how our bodies were so precious and secret and private, and how you can cause men to stumble and all these things. And so, and it was,
you were responsible for what men did too.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
if I were wearing the outfit I was wearing today, my tattoo's showing and it's a little low, and so
What
my
does it
family
say?
would say I was causing you guys to stumble.
The only thing I want to
says-
know about it is what it has said. It has drawn my attention 2 or 3 times, but it's literally, I just want to know what it's written.
It says follow your heart. So yeah, it's hard to, I still feel uncomfortable sometimes. As what happened on Tuesday, I don't get a lot of the sexual jokes. Those go right over my head, and I still blush terribly, turn bright red. And
It takes a wee while, yeah. It takes a wee while.
It's-
Dave's a bit out there, like, you know. Dave, what do we get you for your birthday? No, don't tell her. No. Sorry, go
But
on
it's
ahead.
What did Dave put on my wish list? That's the question.
Yeah. Manda was in. Manda had an operation a few months back. I think it was August, wasn't it, honey? And we did a wee fundraiser. We tried to raise $100 for her, for whenever she came out. We could buy her some nice things off an Amazon wish list. I think in 2 days we got $400. And Dave added, I think it's actually called a dildo machine gun. It looks like, you know, a handbrake in a car if you drive, you know, like a handbrake. Yeah. It looks like that with a dildo on the fuck. It's like, no, but no, Dave.
She'd have enjoyed it.
I would have. It was just expensive. That's all.
It would have blown the budget. It blown the budget.
Feel free to add to my wish list anytime, Dave. I love you.
There you go. You see, you've quietened her up. You made her blush.
yes. No, that's okay. It's fun.
Well, Dave's going to make you a regular on his show because you work from home. He was like, she works from home, so she can like jump on that.
I do. I never leave this house right now.
Neither do I. Know the feeling.
If I can
And
just
it's not
shout
like
out and
that's
say,
fine.
just as I get an opportunity, Secular Pagan Mum has become a member. So thank you very much for becoming a pork scratching. That's always appreciative.
You know, it's purity culture is something that I've taken a stand against for a while, and I've spoken to quite a few people that have gotten out of those movements, some in more extreme cults than other, and I find a lot of them kind of describe similar experiences, but it's something that you'll, as you go through your atheism and as you study yourself more and become more aware of what your worldview entails, you'll discover a lot of different latent Christianities within you. I've been an atheist for 20 years now, and I still find them within myself all the time. In fact, some of my anger towards the lies, I think, actually stem from some of the latent Christianity that I had when it comes to being lied to or lying being a sin. So it's just things that you will continue to see about yourself as you go through life.
Oh yeah, being able to lie and not that I lie often, but like to know that I'm not going to hell for that, or it's not this inherent being able to be angry at people and not think, oh my gosh, I'm committing hate in my heart. You know, it's such a different thing. Also any, you know, sexual guilt that I felt was just immediately gone. It doesn't change how I view sex or my body or anything, but I didn't have as much guilt for having a child out of wedlock and having sex before I was married. So removing that idea that sin is real and that you're going to hell is such a freeing thing. Oh my goodness.
6 months on Dave's streams, your husband will be scared.
I think he would enjoy it, actually.
No, but it's a freeing on everything. You know, you've lost there's no guilt. You know, as you say about the fact that you're.
Loads of guilt.
Pardon?
There's loads of guilt.
Loads of
Yeah,
guilt.
I wouldn't say there's no guilt.
Can I finish
It
now?
is freeing though. It is. Christians can't understand that because they can't put themselves there. And I've had to literally scream until I'm blue in the face to Christians, like, there's no change. Like, you don't stop believing in God and you're gonna go out and start being a serial killer. If anything changes, it's the fact that you are no longer burdened by a lot of the things that you were burdened with before.
I think it's Banana Man and Kent Hovind's son is in a video where the two of them were actually discussing. It's a wee snippet I've seen. I haven't seen the whole video, so context aside and all. But they are talking about if God didn't exist, they were like, I'd literally be killing people. It's the only thing keeping me right. It's like, that just makes you a fucking psycho.
Yeah. Yeah, the person I started YouTube with, he was a Christian, and we mainly debated politics, but every once in a while we would get into the God topic. And he one time said, if I woke up tomorrow and knew that there wasn't a God, I would kill myself. I mean, he literally, and he meant it. He really meant it with everything that he was. That he was. It just blew my mind. Like, that was like the furthest thing from my mind when I got away from religion, was killing myself.
Rub yourself in jelly and run naked up through the streets. No, just me. No. Amanda, have you anything you would like to ask Jade?
What's your favorite dinosaur?
Well, I said pterodactyl, but apparently that's not a dinosaur. So
Did I not? I'm sorry that I missed that.
oh
part.
no, that's okay. Yeah, I guess I don't know.
Dinosaur's
what
not a
dinosaurs
clade.
are.
It's all right. Brian said he'll teach you some evolution.
That's perfect. I need that.
He must be busy. I sent him the link. He must be busy, but Brian's good. You know Brian.
Yeah, I've talked to him a couple times.
Yeah, he likes Facebook. I seen you tag me in a couple of things in Facebook. I apologize if I don't, because Facebook is Facebook.
I understand. No,
Twitter is where it's at.
Pardon,
I
Dave?
just,
Twitter is where it's at.
It's I don't even get me.
I'm
What?
just learning about Twitter. I had not had a Twitter before this, so
Beat you tell it, Dave. Beat you tell it. Sorry, Dave was
No,
flexing
that's
his
okay.
muscles again, not to distract.
MathPig says most people are theists. Yes, okay, technically most people are theists, but only about a third of the world are not.
You can't say most people are theists without putting an area after that. Most people are
No,
theists.
most people are theists. 2/3 of the world are theists.
Yes, but that's okay. We all know that. What atheist does not know that? Okay. The sky's blue. My statement has as much power as that
This is
statement
the point.
does.
It's not meaningful.
Exactly.
I
It's
totally
not
agree with you.
meaningful.
Did you ask the question that Statics asked?
Jade, sorry if he missed it, but what do your husband, father, sister, stepsons, etc. think of your new activism?
they are all so supportive. My dad and my sister really want to help me. They saw how I struggled with religion and kind of the experiences that I went through. And I definitely was probably more affected by it because I believed it so much. Like, they both left very early. So they are totally encouraging me to do this. My husband is completely supportive and shares all of my stuff and is making me a studio now so that I can start doing this more, and is all about it. And my stepsons and my daughter are too. They, my oldest stepson is going to help me with like creating my logo and doing the backgrounds and my editing and stuff because he really enjoys it and he kind of wants to be a part of it too. And so that's the best way that he can help. My daughter wants to possibly be on my show sometimes. She thought that she would have a lot of fun like getting on and asking me questions about religion or things that I went through so I could answer her questions.
I've had my son on a couple times. I used to do a show where we would talk about a TV show, and we did The Mandalorian with a friend of mine. And then he came on to talk about the teenage viewpoints about the January 6th riots. And, we talked about how he saw it and what he thought about it and stuff like that. And he's 17. He has a lot of fun.
Feisty as fuck. He's his mother's son. I'm gonna mute myself.
We're way too much alike, so it's a lot of headbutting, but it's kind of what we're used to.
An hour stream and like adverts of them screaming at each other in the middle of it.
My son is very feisty as well, and especially now that we've started kind of giving our kids permission to question things and find information for themselves, they feel a little more emboldened to question us, which I want to support, but it's so hard sometimes when I'm like, oh my gosh, just listen to what I say, and I don't want to do that.
Do as I
but-
say, not as I do.
Yeah, you know, I have caught myself saying that a couple times because that's what my
Oh,
parents
poor granny used to
me.
say that to me all the fucking time. You'd catch her doing something, and she was like, "No, do as I say, not as I do." Okay, right, mother.
Like
okay.
with the swearing we talked about earlier, I curse like a sailor. I just say my kids can't say it. But yeah, no, and I think my son would probably be interested in something like that as well. He has found this very fascinating. My oldest son, he's 16, and he likes to watch all the YouTube shows that I watch, and he'll sit and watch them with me, and he asks me so many questions, and his family tends to have some kind of different views as well, and so when he talks to them, he really asks them questions like, where are you getting this information, and why do you think that this is true? And then he'll come talk to me about it and be like, you know, this is what they said, this is where they got that information, and then we'll look up information to see if it's true or not, or if we can believe that source. And so they both, all my kids are so supportive. Even my son, who lives in Huron, and his parents, or his mom and her husband, are Christian, he is very interested in what I'm doing, and he does share my stuff and asks questions as well. So
Brilliant. The encouragement is wonderful, and I really like the fact that, you know, this can be taken out of context. You're focusing on the kids. You know, it's the same sort of idea as the church, but with a nicer incentive. You know, grab them while they're young, but it save them while they're young, because they've been in this area and stuck in this sort of situation. That, you know, you're there to give them maybe a safety net. You know, it's like, right, we've been told not to have sex, and if I go and tell my mum that I've got a boyfriend and thinking of running away, they're going to disown me. Can you help me? Here, there's a condom. You know, there's this. There's some education.
yes.
And being there. Hello, Jay. Being there for them. It's a good goal.
Kids have always kind of been my passion. When I was in the church, I did a lot of Sunday school and stuff like that. I helped lead youth groups, and I just, yeah, it angers me that kids don't have more say. And I don't know, maybe more say is the wrong word, but they don't get to choose what happens to them. They have to listen to what their parents say, and they have to listen to the elders around them. And unfortunately, religion does not protect children either, and kind of almost excuses inappropriate behavior towards children just by saying, oh, well, they prayed and it's okay. And that's they're not protecting the kids. You know, there are so many kids that I knew that had you know, like sexual abuse experiences, and they were not listened to. It was brought to everyone. The person was told, you know, this is inappropriate, you can't do that. They prayed, and it was over. There was no contacting police. There was no helping the child, counseling, anything like that. The child still had to look at the person that abused them every single Sunday because they were forgiven. God forgave them. And it just angers me beyond belief. And so that's why that's what my goal is. Yes, to help the younger generation, because unfortunately, parents think they have the right to treat their kids like absolute shit just because they're their parents.
Good job, my Maz went to bed.
I want to welcome you to the fight. We definitely need younger voices involved. Not too many people talk about these issues. I do. You will get some hate. You're going to find an element of Christianity that's going to really respond negatively to you. But I definitely welcome you to this fight because we need more people talking about it. And you're exactly right with everything you're saying. A lot of the dynamics within these evangelical movements, within purity culture itself, are harmful to the children. And they have young, energetic people out there promoting to huge crowds of young people, trying to suck more people into the indoctrinations every single day. So the more atheists that are speaking out against that, for me, is the better. So yeah, I am liking what I am hearing right now. So
And if I can just say, and I know Manda will agree with me here, it's good to have another woman that has another voice that's willing to scream and shout, because it's a very male-dominated YouTube. It's very male-dominated
Yes.
everywhere. Sometimes we would struggle. And Manda makes a joke about it. And she's like, "Oh, brilliant! I'm another woman stuck on a fucking panel with 5 guys." And you know, it's good to have another.
Always on a panel with all fucking guys.
See what I mean? Yeah.
Well, you know, I would also say that that probably has to do with religion as well. I did not have a voice, you know, 7 months ago. I did not know how to talk to or for myself. I did not know how to stand up for myself. I didn't think that what I had to say mattered. I didn't think that the experiences that I had been through were anything crazy, you know. It wasn't until I started talking to people about things that had happened in my childhood, and people were like, "What? That's not normal. That should not have happened. That's it." And I was like, "This is not, you know, like the prepper thing. I thought it was completely common that people stocked up on food and hoarded guns and built underground bunkers and planned
I've only
for the
2
end of the
cupboards of
world."
tins and only 2
Yeah.
guns. All right, I'm not that bad.
You know, the zombie apocalypse didn't quite happen 2,000 years ago, but they are coming.
Yes, some point. I think that in the time that I have been alive, my family has prepared for the end of the world 4 times. Actively, we were getting ready, had a plan in place for how all of my family was going to get together and stocking up on food, and legitimately thought it was happening.
I had a
Well,
Christian
actually,
that
I have a question. You were talking about earlier how when you believed in, you were talking about, well, you said global warming, but it's wrong. It's climate change. That even if climate change is real, it doesn't matter because you're just all going to be in heaven. But you as Christians didn't care about any of the other species on this planet. We lose right now over 30,000 species a year. We're in the midst of a mass extinction, and that was just something that you guys didn't think about. You're just like, well, we'll be in heaven, we don't give a shit. Is that really it?
Yeah, basically it was, you know, the rapture is coming and then Armageddon, and there won't be a world here. We're all going to be either in heaven or in hell. So
Okay, there won't be a world at all. So what happens to all the other species, though?
I'm not sure.
probably, yeah, didn't.
Animals weren't really talked about, I guess, or other species that wasn't.
Well, we'll have to suffer, you know, the judgments of God. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
We
afterwards.
get
You
to
don't
get
you don't need to
tortured,
think
yeah.
about what happens to the animals after you're gone, because when you're gone, you're in heaven and everything's
Yeah.
fantastic.
I mean, honestly, you know, what I do half the time, I more fight for all the other species than the humans. Sometimes I feel I'm more behind saving the other species than just the humans, because we're the ones doing this and fucking stuff so bad. So that kind of hurts my heart that you don't consider at all. Like, not you, I just mean the people in the religion. They just don't. It's just all human centric and fuck everything.
It's what makes it
That's
so
what I
hard.
want.
It's what makes it so hard to gain any ground with these people, Mama. Like it's why we, you know, you as a scientist that works in the field has to scream to your blue in the face to people that still won't believe you because, you know, God.
Yeah, exactly.
Because all of this is here for us. God created this whole world for us. The animals are here for us to eat. The trees are here for us to cut down and, you know, do what we need to with that. Everything is here to accommodate humans because God made it for us.
Well, what about the 99.9999999% of the universe that is uninhabitable? Like, why the fuck would he, you know, put that into existence for humans? I don't.
Because he can. I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't
To
get
show
down
us how
that far.
powerful he is.
Yeah,
Well, and I do want to point out, Converse Contenders pointing it out somewhat in the chat that these kind of beliefs do tend to side more into the evangelical realms. And you're talking about 25% of the nation is evangelical at the last count. So, I mean, that's a good chunk of the population that actually believes these things.
And I hope you don't feel like I'm attacking you or anything.
Oh no,
Just,
no, I am very saddened by some of the things that I have believed in the past, and I have now made changes to those things. So my family recycles. I do understand that climate change is real. I'm learning more about it. I will be honest, I don't know a whole lot. 7 months has not been a whole lot of time to dive into everything I've wanted to yet.
Hi, I'm a climate scientist. I have a channel that talks about climate science. There you go.
Perfect. I've had so much fun listening to YouTube channels like that, because it really is fascinating to learn how science works. I wish that I had been in science classes more often and gotten to do like experiments and things that other people did in science class.
Manda will science the shit out of you.
That's perfect. My daughter loves it too, so I'm very excited. I'm hoping that I can kind of learn with her as she learns this stuff.
There's generally a good YouTube channel, if you look that hard enough, that will have a PhD or something like that, because it's become so available now. Amanda's a great example. Somebody with a background and a PhD in actual, what they're talking about.
A master's.
Pardon?
I don't have a PhD. I have a master's.
Sorry. Excuse me.
Just saying, I don't want to, misrepresent myself. I have
exactly. You're being honest.
Astrophysics and climate science.
You're being honest. The point is, you have an education in the shit you're talking about. You're not a mechanical engineer on fucking some Kent Hovind video talking about evolution. You're actually talking about the field you have studied.
So it's really sad. When I was a Christian and watching these things, I did not understand that there was a difference. That if you're a doctor in this field, that does not mean you are educated in this field.
Oh,
so
God.
Yeah.
Okay. Scientists get that a lot. Like, they're like, oh, you know science, so you must know all of the. I do get that a lot. So our friend, the doctor, Dr. Stephen Hobbs, he's proficient in numerous scientific fields and disciplines. So he's a good person to, you're a scientist, but most other scientists, I don't know OChem very well. I didn't study that too much. Climate science you have to study a lot of different disciplines all together. Physics and chemistry and earth science and geology and a whole bunch of shit, biology. But, we just still don't know everything. And that seems that a lot of people do. They expect, you're a scientist, so you know everything science.
Yeah, and I think that is why people can be so easily misinformed. Because for me, I would watch these Christian people like Ken Ham and stuff like that, and I would listen to the scientists that they had on their channels, and I would be like, oh yeah, that makes total sense.
Did you watch Ken Ham versus Bill Nye and jump on Ken Ham's side?
I did the first time. I have since watched it again.
Good.
And I was like, oh, Jade.
Oh,
what were you thinking?
Good. You've backtracked, you've sorted it, it's fine. We'll not make fun of you now.
That fascinates me. The idea that you watched it and believed what Ham was saying before and then watched it critically after. The idea of that fascinates me hugely.
You grow up with that story, though. Like, you grow up with believing in that creation story, to where it's pretty much you don't even really hear the other side of it. So for a lot of people, hearing that we are indeed monkeys, that's like earth shattering for them. It's really hard to accept.
Yes, it is.
Amanda, you had something?
I was gonna say they do that a lot with they'll have professionals, and I'm air quoting right now. You can't see me. Come on, and they'll talk as if they're an authority in the subject they're talking about. They'll be talking about the Big Bang or something, and they have a degree in like fucking, in geology or something like that, something that's just not connected, but because they'll put them up as an authority and use that. Just because they have some kind of education doesn't mean that they know what they're talking about on this subject. And I've seen that a lot from the evangelical side. They'll use somebody that has, it's like, stay in your lane. You have no right to be talking about that because you weren't educated in it. So don't act like you are an authority on it. They do that a lot.
Yes, they really do. And then it's so hard to tell them because, I would watch one of those videos and listen to that expert and think, oh yeah, that makes absolute sense. And then I would listen to the other side and they would have an expert. And in my mind, it was, okay, well, obviously we're looking at it two different ways. That person clearly just doesn't understand because they don't believe in God, that initial God exists, so this is how it is. And I just felt like that was wrong because I knew God was real.
Yeah, and that's always kind of the fallback is, God. Again, like Knox said earlier, it always comes back to, well, God. So, and Harmonica Man, Randy said it, they're called ringers. Yeah, exactly. It's very annoying.
Sorry, I was twittering about with the bot. I was making Jade. You now have your own command in the bot. Apostrophe and Jade, and it will pop your link in the chat. If anybody is ever in doubt and wants to know Jade's link, just apostrophe explanation mark, sorry, and Jade, and her link will come up. As with Dave, as with Rage, as with Mama, everybody basically but Jay. But Jay doesn't want any subs. Jay deletes his videos and everything, don't you, Jay?
Oh no, I don't. Don't lie.
You've been very quiet, Jay. Is there anything you would like to add or ask Jade?
Not at this point. No, sorry, I've been quiet. I've been occupying myself here at work and also the live chat. I see the Maverick is talking about his impersonal God that has no desires but seems to have intentions. So
you love poking that bird, Jay, don't you?
What's that?
You love to poke
Maverick's
the bird.
special.
Oh yes, I do.
The Maverick is quite special.
Comes here regular. Always comes. Always here. Appreciate the view. Thanks for coming.
Like clockwork. Like a bowel movement.
Well, Antangelo's left because he wasn't allowed to preach and he wasn't allowed to spout bullshit. So I think he's left.
Oh, he wasn't. You weren't going to let him keep going on and start spouting all those.
Oh no, I give him one warning. I did. I gave him one last warning. He got a warning in the last show, and in the after party, I told him one last warning. Mod's discretion. If he talks shit, out. And then
I still don't know if that was him.
there was two. There was Angelo
One is
Grasso.
Angelo Grasshole.
Yeah.
You do have a good, solid representation of Christianity in your side chat, though. Contender is one of my favorite Christians. Smarter as hell. I would never really want to debate the dude because he's so smart. So, Converse Contender is probably, he's a good guy, and I appreciate that.
Converse Contender is still one of the good Christians. He's been on the channel before. We've had an interview. We've had a conversation. He also did the "You're watching MathPig" video, which was dead serious. He had the long beard in the white studio at the time. It looked super serious. But he's up for a laugh. He's up for a conversation. He's open. He's like Spartan as well. One of the good Christians out there. And I do hope to have a good representation of both sides in the chat. We're here to have these conversations. And as Dave warned you earlier, you will, if you do live streams and even in your comment section, you will probably get some trolls. Laugh at them. Take it as a pinch of salt. If you're feeling bored and it's a Saturday night and you have a glass of wine, have some fun with them. Entertain yourself. Just don't take it serious.
Yeah, I have an Instagram account, and I have someone that likes to comment on there and ask me if I believe in absolute morality, and if God doesn't exist, how can you have morals? And I started conversating with him for a while, but then it just, I would answer one thing and then he would just completely move on to another topic instead of responding to what I said. And so it wasn't actually a conversation.
They think they've got a gotcha.
Yeah.
And they don't like. They got the list over and over again. They have a list of questions that atheists can't answer without a god. It's just they don't like the answers. Every single one of them has
Yep.
been answered 1,000 times. They just don't like it. It just doesn't fit what they want.
In every way imaginable, right down to me just cussing half the time about it, you know. And they just won't accept any of them, you know.
So Jade, how long were you raised in? You said that your parents, if I remember with your interview, you said your parents, or at least your mom, found God because of addiction. That's how she was introduced to the Christian religion.
Not exactly introduced. My grandma has always been extremely fundamental Baptist.
Oh, okay.
But my mom kind of walked away from that for a while. And then when she had her addiction, my grandma brought her to a Christian rehab center. And then she attributes God to getting clean. Yes.
Oh, okay. So how long were you raised in that religion?
26 years.
Oh, okay. And I'm assuming you're 26 now.
27.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I was homeschooled in it and all that good happy crap. So I didn't become an atheist until I was like, well, how old was I? 36? I was 36. So you're ahead of the curve.
I feel so behind, but
No, you're doing really well for 7 months. Like, my personal experience took a long while. I didn't even know the fucking word atheist existed for like fucking 8 or 10 years. You know, a lot of us here have been through, as Jay's talking to you, Jay was a long-term Christian as well, left late in life, you know. Me and Dave are both cultural over here. Amanda left very early in life. There's a big representation of everybody from all across. So you should find some support. There's a person for everything.
oh yeah, everyone has been so supportive so far. I've been very pleasantly, I don't know if surprise sounds like the wrong word, but because I've been told my whole life that atheists were such terrible people, I was not exactly sure what to expect.
Yeah, that's
We go
one thing
out
I wanted
back
to say. No,
fields of
sorry.
thinking.
It's one thing I wanted to say earlier. I forgot because they went off on a wee tangent as other things started talking. Is the fact that whenever you were mentioning earlier that you weren't allowed to speak up and that you sort of had to be quiet sort of in the church. It's something that you will find here is not only will we give you a platform, but we will raise you up. And if you have something worthwhile to say and you're worthwhile listening to, everybody in the community will help.
But if you step on your dick, we're all going to just turn around and laugh behind your back.
Oh no, we'll laugh in your face if you make a fool. Hey, as a side tangent, because it's the after party, Jay's brother fell asleep on a stream after he did what, 2 or 3 hours with you, Jay?
Oh, which one?
He did a really long stream with Jay, and then he went and did an after party on his own channel and fell asleep, and he was hosting. And as if you've seen with StreamYards, if everybody leaves, it makes the person full screen. So Jay's brother is now asleep in the camera, full screen. He gets up after a couple of hours, strips, scratches himself in some funny places, and climbs into bed.
Yeah. I'm glad he wasn't sleeping nude. I'm glad he was wearing boxer briefs. I was like, if he slips off his Hanes, he's done.
Oh, so funny. So funny. We
Yeah.
will laugh. But it only brings us
I don't
together.
know.
There's a video of Dave, as we shown you, with Dave's ball exploding.
Well, he doesn't live too far away from my parents, and he shares an apartment with our older sister. So luckily, I was able, I don't know if it was that one, but there was several others where I actually had to call. I called my parents' house and I got a hold of my mom. I said, "Hey, are you going out?" And she goes, "Yeah." And I said, "All right," because I've got like 15 messages coming in from people telling me that Jeff is asleep with a live stream going. And she goes, "All right." So since they had a key to the apartment, they went over there and had to go in there and turn
With
the
that
shit off.
particular one that I've made personally at least 3 memes out of, that one went for 8.5 hours.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. A lot of it was black. You know, he wasn't sleeping a lot. You know, he got up after, I think, 3 and climbed into bed. But there was 5 hours of just a blank screen because he left it running. Oh, talk about tangents and taking it off track altogether. Yeah, any ideas bouncing around in your head, Jade, for anything you want to do in the channel and mainly focus it? I know you're talking about the kids and stuff like that there and all, but, you know, that's one particular audience. An awful lot of the audience, especially the people here, would be, you know, mid-20s, early 30s, going up into the 40s and 50s and stuff. We have a sort of an adult. Is there anything that sort of direction you want to talk about? Is there something that you have a main focus on? You know, are you going to be a debunker? Are you going to reaction video? Are you going to do live streams? Are you going to do Dave and do a quiz? You know, it's a really bad idea. Don't do the quiz.
So I haven't really figured out, like, as far as interviews or debunking. Probably not debunking because I'm not educated enough to do that.
It's
but
really easy. Earth's not flat. You're wrong. Walk away.
I would enjoy doing it on my own, just so I can better learn how to critically analyze information, because that is something I'm still trying to learn how to do. But as far as my content, it probably will be more having conversations with people that have left religion. I really would like to, as well as children, talk to women, just because I have so much experience with that, with purity culture, with abuse, with not, you know, women in purity culture are basically not taught anything. You are supposed to grow up, find a husband, have kids, and be a stay-at-home mom for the rest of your life. So I feel like there's so much room for education and for saying, like, you do matter, you do have a voice, you can do something with your life. Your sole purpose on earth is not to populate the earth. This is not what we need to do.
All right, who's got the hound?
So I guess I would like to probably talk about my experiences with purity culture and being raised told that you're kind of inferior to men, and just kind of how I'm going through that and learning to change that idea in my head. And then also probably just talking about coming out of religion and kind of detailing my questions that I have, just because, like I said, there's so much that I didn't realize my opinions came from Christianity, even though there's such stupid, minute things. And so I think just being honest with all the things that I didn't realize I didn't know, and how I found the answers to them might be helpful for people. And so I'm hoping that eventually, once I can go out, I can start having conversations with people here in my state, and talking about us or how we have gone through that, and come out of it.
If I can say, you know, I'm not going to, you know, put these people, because I don't even know who they are, but your sister, your father, your stepson doing artwork, you have a good wee support network there, all within reach, that can be there to help you. You know, so it's definitely something we'll be keeping track of and want to big future. And to say nearly 30 people watching an after party, Jade, this is one of the biggest after parties that I've had in fuck knows how long. All right. People are interested. People want to see where you're going. You're chatty. You've definitely got the energy. You've definitely got the enthusiasm. People are liking what they're hearing. So anything that you need that we can do to help, there's a big network here at the Pigsty. We're all very welcoming. And if they're not, we'll just
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, that's why I just put that was for you, Jay.
Nobody wants to come to my fucking channel anymore. God damn.
Oh, and I remember when it used to be 6 watching your channel. You're now up to at least 17. Come on, you're moving up in the world.
I'm moving on up, moving on up.
Jay's a good channel to go to. Jay is what we refer to, well, what I refer to as the basement. A lot of cool people go and hang out in Jay's channel. It gets fucking rough and ready down in Jay's, though.
I come on at 4 o'clock in the morning, really stoned and yelling at everybody. So. You know.
Oh no, that happens on a good weekend. That's not a motherfucker.
Yeah, sometimes I wake up to go to work, and because Jay's in California, relative to me, he is just the right amount of drunk and stoned to be going, Praise is a fucking wanker. And it's
Yeah.
quite interesting on the drive to work. Like,
See, I think when I got started on the YouTube stuff, I already had a head start because my family. I was raised in a family that will argue, the color of a fucking hat. So when I was questioning my religion, and my brother had converted to atheism and so had my little sister, but I didn't really talk to my little sister too much about it. My little sister was basically like, I don't believe in that shit anymore, fuck off. But I would talk with my brother about it quite a bit, and he would recommend some channels and stuff, and I'd watch them and then we'd go back and we'd have a conversation about it. So I had a good head start on kind of having these kind of conversations and Socratic method, how to approach, how to question theists and stuff like that on beliefs and what they would question me about what I believe in. So I kind of got that before I ever even got started on this. If I hadn't had that, I probably would never have gotten on these at all. I'd have just been playing stupid the entire time and just asked silly questions, which I still do just for shits and giggles.
It's probably very similar. I was taught how to evangelize, like to bring people to Christ. So I feel like I was given tools to go out and talk to people, and I want to now use that for a better purpose. I almost feel like guilty for all the people I brought into Christianity. So if I can bring out as many people,
did you
I'll feel
take
like
their numbers down? Can you go back and have another chat with them?
Unfortunately not. It's all about getting the prayer. It's not about following up to make sure they stay a Christian.
Oh yeah,
It's
just like pro-life.
getting that prayer.
Just like pro-life.
Exactly. You have the baby, and then who cares about the baby? It's
Yeah,
just important that you have the baby.
That is something that I thought when you mentioned earlier, when you were talking, I think it was your grandmother that you said, or your mother you said about, you should have the baby, but you should get rid of it. And let's not worry about it. It's done. We can move on then. I don't know. I couldn't do that. Yeah.
And even my daughter...
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Never mind.
no.
That's about me. Carlton says I'm evil, so that's fine.
Carlton's right. Now you be quiet. Go on ahead, Jade.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, even when my daughter was 2 years old, I talked to my mom, and I just said, gosh, she's just so amazing. Aren't you glad I didn't give her up for adoption? And instead of being like, oh yes, you're right, I shouldn't have said that, she said, well, that's why that's the difficult choice, because it's the better one, but it's hard to make. So she still, at 2 years old, thought Bella would have been better off with me giving her up for adoption.
And no justification for it.
No, just that I wasn't married.
Yeah, that's the only justification for it, a religious standpoint that you didn't align yourself with what she believed.
Yep.
Hello to Carlton.
I don't really understand that, because like, you've already committed the sin, you're gonna pay for that sin regardless, and then you give the baby a chance of being raised by godless heathens. Like, wouldn't it be better? All right, so the sin's already committed. Let's make sure we raise this child into this fundamentalism so they can be, an army for God or whatever.
Yeah, I think if my grandma could have taken my daughter, that would have been her preferred, that would have been the best scenario, but that was not going to happen. So I think she thought, and they were trying to get me to go through a Christian adoption agency.
Yeah,
so their idea was my baby would go to a Christian family.
But still, this modern day here in America, it's sometimes hard for atheists to go through the adoption services.
On a personal note, I know it's cultural, and I did say that it's quite cultural over here, but it is ingrained. My auntie, when she was younger, had a pregnancy, and I grew up and didn't know up until I think I was maybe 15 or 16 that what I thought was my young auntie was actually my cousin. And she did have a few disabilities and a few learning disabilities, and she did have epilepsy. She did get bronze in the swimming for the Special Olympics in our area, so she didn't get to actually make it to the Special Olympics, but in that thing she was third. She did work for a local group, but she had an epileptic fit and she died actually thinking that she was my auntie. She did not know from the time she was born till she passed away, and that's the same situation. It was my grandmother that took, or her grandmother that took her in.
Yeah, my grandma is kind of it's funny because, you know, women are not supposed to be the head of the house, but my grandma is kind of the controller of everyone in the family, and she has a hand in everyone's lives and tells everyone what they should be doing because God tells her what we should be doing with our lives. And she kind of is what made it so crazy, I think, and so fundamental.
Like a leadership point.
Yep.
Was your was her husband your grandfather like that, and then she sort of took that over? Was she like the head of the family, so to speak?
Yeah, yeah, she was. I don't really know how it happened, but she was just terrible to my grandpa. And my grandpa was kind of he didn't like conflict, so he just let her kind of take over. I don't really know how she justified that with her faith, but
I was going to say that, you know, strong, powerful woman telling him what to do in a religious sort of, where he's the head of the household.
Mm-hmm. And where she's telling her daughters and her grandchildren that they need to listen to their husbands, but not doing it herself.
That's very contradicting and hypocritical. It's not like it's a Christian religion at all.
Oh, I know, right? Crazy. Not common at all.
Sorry, I'm just reaching out. If I can send some love to Varva Lax out in the chat, if anyone's been watching that there, needs a wee bit of support. If Facebook, man, I'm MathPig, because they won't let me use math and pig as my first and surname. So I'm Matt as my first name because it's an actual name, and then HPig as my surname in Facebook. Send me a friend request, man. We'll make some connections. Yeah, well, has anybody else anything they would like to poke at Jade or ask her brain? No, that's a bad. Sorry, Dave. I'm ignoring Dave. Has anything anybody else would like to ask Jade or go down that route? Nope.
No, I'd just say keep it up. I think you're on the right path, and it's always good to have passion for what you believe in and what you're standing for. So, yeah, good job. Keep it
I will
up.
state this again. She is a retweet machine. She is really putting the effort in, you know, and considering what a lot of people can do, considering how easy it is, you just hit a button.
I'm glad there are people out there that can figure out that. I cannot stand Twitter's layout. I cannot stand that.
I'm like lost on Twitter most of the time.
There is only 2 people in this panel that like Twitter, and everybody else just uses it out of necessity.
Yes, that's so true.
Okay?
Twitter is
I do not
awesome.
like Twitter.
You've just got to learn how to use it.
Dave, not the way you do it. No. It's evil. I hate. I'm not even going to go down that route.
Oz says let Jade know about our new creator stream coming up.
There you go, Oz. I'll set you up with Oz on Twitter or Discord. Oz, send me a Twitter or a Discord message as well, so we can sort something. We get a wee interview going. I definitely haven't tapped any of the Tart boys yet, so it'd be good to have a chat as well. Yeah. So, other than that, has any Dave's went silent? I think Manda's found pudding. Has anybody anything they would like to show except for Jay because it's not worth going to?
Did you just dime her out?
Pardon?
That's just completely arbitrary.
It says in the chat she found pudding.
I was calling him because he said he's hungry.
I know, but you got pudding.
Yeah, but it's got an exclamation point at the end. It seems like a real deal.
Oh, it's like, fuck you, Dave. I've got pudding. That's what that means. He's hungry.
It's not like I'm really stoned and haven't eaten all day, and this pudding is literally.
I like how you put that. I like how you put that on there. Not really stoned.
I think thus doth protest too much.
Perhaps.
So, yes. Jay, have you anything you'd like to show?
No,
No.
because like you said, my stream is the basement, and no one should come there.
Unless they feel angry, drunk, stoned, or want to shout.
No, it's gotten better over there.
It really has. It has. I just like winding you up. Knock, have you anything you'd like to show?
Let me just say, well, hold on real quick. If it wasn't for all that boozing and shit, I'd have never broke.
He really likes to tell the story that the first live stream I was. Go on, Jay.
You told me I was the first stream you were on.
It was.
Okay, then there you go.
You
As I
like
recall,
saying it, Robbie.
you and I were both fucking hammered drunk.
Yeah, that hammered drunk that I went on a fucking stream and argued with G-Man. Do you know G-Man, Jade?
I don't think so.
G-Man is, let me see, an African American that I had on quite recently. Now G-Man's been around for years, absolute years, and he is an African American that actually fought that he would be a slave to the atheist, godless engineer if he stuck by the rules of the Bible. That's the sort of fundamentalist, crazy. He also dressed up in a lion suit and ran through a forest. He's deleted that video, but he's crazy.
Yeah, what is the point of dressing up?
I
in a
left
lion?
Jay's stream and went on to G-Man's stream and fought against G-Man because G-Man was arguing that lying is worse than... I'm not even going to say the word because I don't even want to say it. Yeah, I'll tell you afterwards. That's all Jay's fault, and he likes to tell everybody the story.
Oh, it's. Well, I didn't tell you to go over to G-Man's. No, I would say that one of the things.
Do you still have that video? You told me you've taken it off your channel, but do you still have it recorded?
Yeah, it's still up there.
Send me the link.
Well, oh, sorry. Yeah, I think it's still up there. I think I just have it.
Right, now we're just rambling. We're all just rambling. We're all just rambling and rambling and rambling.
Well, I would like to ask Jade before we leave. Jaded, what was the one thing? What was like the one thing that kind of helped? That got you. Maybe I missed this when you guys were talking because I think I came into the stream a little bit late. But what was the one thing that kind of turned your mind around from the Christian religion to basically being a non-believer?
Yeah, I actually started watching documentaries on other cults.
Oh,
and-
that's right. Okay.
Yep, and realized that was very similar to what Christianity did, and so that was kind of, and then evolution was the real clicker. Once I realized I had been insanely misinformed about evolution and that it was very real, it was kind of like, okay, yeah, everything that I have been told is a lie.
Okay, yeah, because I was gonna say, have you ever seen any like the older precept arguments, like from like when presuppositional argument was like a big thing? This is back in like 2012, 2013.
I've watched a lot of YouTube videos where like callers talk in and have arguments like that. But
She knows of a Canadian Catholic, not of Darth Dawkins.
Yeah, that's what basically helped get me out of the Christian. Well, that's what, in a way, broke me of my Christian faith, was actually watching the precept stuff, was listening to precept arguments. When I realized how bad they were defending, like Christian apologists, the way they were defending that religion was absolutely horrible. So I just thought I'd ask. But anyway, yeah, I don't want to ramble.
No, I'm very interested in. Unfortunately, I probably made a lot of those arguments when I was a Christian. So yeah, watching some of those.
Oh, I did too.
It's kind of hard. I listen to what they say and I'm like, oh gosh, I sounded like such a.
Yep, I did the same thing. Yep, I know how you feel.
I'm glad I'm not alone.
Anybody else? Knock, have you anything you'd like to share? You tried to, but Jay interrupted.
Blaming me again, motherfucker.
You want me to kick you again, you fucking cunt?
I have a juicy video coming out. I'm not sure when I'm going to put it out. I'm not going to talk about it too much because, it's drama and shit. But there is this guy. I think the book's called Why Atheism Kills, something along those lines. And the writer of this book did this 50-minute lecture, and it is atrocious. So I'm gonna be making it probably 10 to 15 videos on this 50-minute lecture. So I'm gonna be pretty busy coming up.
Manda, anything coming up? Dave, anything coming up?
Huh? doing something with Dave. Dave, are you still here?
She doesn't give a shit. She's got pudding. Not when you get a chance.
Yeah.
Can you send me a link to that?
The pudding.
Yeah. I'll throw it on your brother. I think I might have thrown it on your brother's Discord channel just to see what people thought. Are you talking about the lecture?
Yeah, the lecture.
Yeah, I'll throw a link on your brother's Discord channel.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Okay, we're definitely now officially rambling. Not even our main guest is looking. She's looking up over here going, what's happening over here? She's not even watching anymore. It's fine.
It's okay.
It's fine.
Just
Everybody, thank you very much for coming. I know there's not many... What?
See, I'm not the only one that gets shit.
Manda.
You douchebags interrupted me, and then you're like, "Fuck you, let's leave."
It's like MathPig just pissed.
I
in the
am
pudding
really
that came out.
distracted because I looked at my guest, and the guest is stirring up over here.
No,
And
my
that's
husband
probably
just
the
opened
Rage's
the
fault.
door.
That's the Rage's
Don't make
fault
any
because he's
excuses.
distracted
Don't make any
everybody.
excuses for him. He'll just change direction and make up some other excuse.
Right? What we're gonna do is we're doing this, and we're doing this.
Dave
Go, Amanda.
and I have to go. We finally picked a name, so Dave, tell them our name.
I've forgotten it. Screw loose news. Or loose screw news.
Okay.
Which way round is it? I've forgotten.
Dave forgot something. Go figure. Yes,
I
we're
know.
working on a show together on his channel. It'll be. Go ahead, Dave. You talk about it.
It's going to be hopefully a positive spin on most news with a little bit to get angry about. A daily show. It should be hopefully interesting and hopefully informative without depressing you.
Yeah.
We live in hope.
But it's a lot of us, you know. What did you say? Like laugh and criticize and yell.
Pretty much taking the piss.
Yeah. So that's what we're working on, and I've been a little sick, so I've just not been doing stuff on my channel right now. But that's it. There. Thank you for letting me talk, Robbie, light partner of mine.
There you go.
I got a quiz on Tuesday. Probably.
Yeah,
Probably.
Go to Dave's
Probably.
Quiz. And go get pudding because it's awesome. Even Jay wishes he had pudding.
Everybody likes pudding. Jade,
now we're done.
and the final word, except for my tagline, will go to you, Jade. Is there anything you would like to say or add or, you know, throw out there apart from Jay's an asshole?
Just thank you so much for having me on, and thank you for being so welcoming and supportive. I have definitely needed a community of people that I can talk to. Like I said, there's not a lot of that around here, so I do have to be very careful about what I talk about to a lot of people. So to be able to talk freely and ask questions about things that I'm interested in, I'm very thankful for this opportunity. So thank you guys so much.
More than welcome. As we said earlier, you're very enthusiastic. You've got the energy, you know. Definitely worthwhile coming. And everybody's happy to see. Biggest after party I've had in ages. Biggest after party I've had in ages. So
That's super cool. I'm excited.
no, very welcome addition to the pigsty. Yes, one of us, and all that there. So again, thank you everybody for coming and watching. Sub to everybody. We've posted their links in the chat. Pigbot's been doing his thing. So yeah, sub to Jade, sub to Jay, sub to Rage, sub to Amanda, sub to Dave, maybe sub to Dave. It's alright. But definitely sub to Jade. Definitely sub to Jade. So on that, yeah, thank you everybody for coming, and think for yourselves, folks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.